Good morning, seniors. It's Mrs. Kane with a brief little e-learning lesson today. So today's a review day for your quiz. Your quiz will be on Wednesday if you're in period 3 and on Thursday if you're in period 4. So I'm going to go through just a quick set of problems, 4 problems with you. The quiz will be on solving rational expressions. So I was going to do 4 problems with you and then assign a quizzes. And that link can be found in Schoology. So if you already kind of understand, you've been following along with all the lessons, you don't have to watch this video. It's kind of optional. You can go ahead and just work on the quizzes. So the key to solving rational expressions is that you're going to look at your denominators, you're going to find a common denominator, and you're going to multiply each term by that denominator. So if we look at the first 2 problems, you'll notice that we have a denominator of x plus 2. Okay, and we also have a whole number in there, a whole number of 3. So this 3 we can think of as 3 over 1. Okay, and so when we have that extra whole number in there, the common denominator is just going to come from that x plus 2. Okay, and so to solve this rational equation, what we're going to do, we're going to multiply all 3 terms by x plus 2. So notice that we have 1, 2, 3 terms, okay? And so we're going to multiply, and it's kind of a pain in the butt, but we're going to put an x plus 2 next to each of the terms. Okay, so and I'm multiplying. So for the fractions, I just kind of set that x plus 2 next to it, but for that whole number, I put it in parentheses. Now, the key is when you multiply by x plus 2, you can think of it as x plus 2 over 1. Okay, and so every time you multiply a fraction by x plus 2, notice that now we have an x plus 2 on top and an x plus 2 on the bottom. Over here on the right side, we have an x plus 2 on top and an x plus 2 on the bottom. And so the reason we're multiplying by x plus 2 is because it completely wipes out the fractions. And so if we look at our first term, we're left with just 2x minus 5. Okay, now right here, we didn't have a fraction to start with. Nothing wiped out the x plus 2, but we didn't need the x plus 2 to go away. So for the second term, we're just going to go ahead and distribute that 3. We get 3x plus 6. And then over here, we have an 11. Okay, so now we're going to put like terms together on the left side. We have 5x plus 1 equals 11. And then we can subtract 1 and divide by 5, and we get x equals 2. All right, so it's kind of a lot of work, but you basically just look at the denominator, and you're going to multiply each term by that denominator. So let's try another one over here. Okay, so notice that we have a denominator of x minus 4. Okay, and so the LCD is x minus 4. And so I'm going to start by multiplying every term by x minus 4. So x minus 4 times the first fraction plus x minus 4 times the second fraction equals 6 times x minus 4. And the only time you're actually going to multiply is when you have that whole number. Okay, so just like the previous one, notice what happens in the first set of multiplication. The x minus 4 on top cancels out the x minus 4 on the bottom, and we just get 2. Plus, right here, the x minus 4 on top cancels the x minus 4 on bottom, and we just get 2 plus 1 equals, if we distribute the 6, we get 6x minus 24. Okay, 2 plus 1 is 3. And then from here, I'm going to add 24 to both sides. I get 27 equals 6x, and then if I divide by 6, I get 27 over 6. Okay, and so these first 2 problems are the ones that I taught in the last video. These are a little bit more complicated than the next set of problems. And the reason these 2 were a little bit more work is because of these extra numbers that were in there. So on number 1, we had that whole number of 3. And then on number 2, this number 6. Okay, so when you have an equation, addition or subtraction, in a rational equation that you're trying to solve, you got to clear the fractions. Okay, if we look at number 3 and 4, these ones are a little bit simpler. These are from the first video, the day 9. The reason these are a little simpler is because we have a single fraction equal to another single fraction. And so you can take a different approach. You can actually just cross multiply. Okay, and so what I taught you in the first solving video is that these cross products are the same. 7 times 2x plus 3 has to equal 10 times x plus 1. Okay, and so that's your setup, and then all you have to do is distribute. So you get 14x plus 21 equals 10x plus 10. And then from here, we can subtract 10x from both sides. And I'm also going to subtract 21 from both sides. And that will bring my variables to the left. And then my other numbers to the right. And then if we divide both sides by 4, x equals negative 11 fourths. Okay, so these are called proportions. So when you're solving a rational, you have to decide, do I have to clear the fractions or do I just need to cross multiply? All right, and so then this last one, notice that we can cross multiply again because we have a single fraction equal to a single fraction. So 1 times x plus 5 equals 2 times 5x plus 9. And notice how I have to put parentheses around my, my linear expression. Now when I distribute the 1, I just get x plus 5. And then over here I have 10x plus 18. And then I'm going to subtract x from both sides. 5 equals 9x plus 18. And then just subtract 18 from both sides, and we get negative 13 equals 9x. Divide by 9, and you get negative 13 ninths. Okay, so not always super friendly whole number answers. Just want to point out that sometimes you get fractions. All right, so that is, these topics is what your quiz will be over on Wednesday or Thursday. And so after you're done watching the video, I want you to go ahead and go to the quizzes link in Schoology and do the best you can on the quizzes. And that will be points in the gradebook.